Eiichiro Oda has just dropped a series of bombshells at Jump Festa 2022. At this event, he spoke about when and how Wano will end, the 25th anniversary of the manga, and most importantly, Luffy meeting Shanks in 2022. Hello and welcome to the Grand Line Review, your source for everything One Piece. My name is Liam and December is my favorite time of year. Not because of Christmas and definitely not because of the Australian summer, which can have right off, but because this is the month where Jump Festa takes place. An annual convention style event for all of the Jump properties, which includes your Narutos and your Bleaches, or I suppose these days more like your Borutos and your Jujutsu Kaisens, whatever you crazy kids are into. But most importantly of all is One Piece. And I don't just say that because that's all this channel is about. I say it because at Jump Festa, Oda drops his annual bomb on the global fanbase, which he does via a written message. And this message is designed to provide clues and even sometimes outright spoilers as to what will be happening in One Piece in the year to come. And this Jump Festa was a big one, although to be fair, I'm pretty sure I say that every year. And here's another thing I say, which are our subscribers of the day being simply Ryan Gosling, and Ryan Shatford, which must have been a not so great name to have during high school. But all three of these, Ryan shatting themselves or not, did an amazing thing of pressing the subscribe button for the Grand Line Review, which will result in consistent injections of One Piece culture administered directly into their YouTube feeds. And if you want to be our next subscriber of the day, then hit the button and please do say hi in the comments below if you are a new member of the Grand Fleet. Welcome. All right, so let's go through Oda's message. And he covers a lot of stuff here, with the juiciest, most succulent information stakes being reserved for the end, so stay tuned for that. But the translation of this message is brought to us by the Library of Ohara, and at Jump Festa, the message was read by Mayumi Tanaka, who is the voice of Luffy. So just imagine Luffy saying all of the following words. To everyone attending Jump Festa, as well as those watching online, hello! This is baseball player Shohei Ohtani Nitoryu, dual wielder of the stiff shoulders and back pain, which I imagine is a reference to some sort of Japanese baseball dude. Although I can absolutely empathize with being a dual wielder of shoulders and back pain. Although in my case, I tend to dual wield back pain and wrist pain. Nobody told me that when you reach 30, your body just gives up. Now then, this year we had the party that was chapter 1000 of the manga, the party that was volume 100, and the party that was episode 1000 of the anime. This really was a year of non-stop party. And it really was. 2021 was the biggest scale One Piece celebration I think we've ever had. Even more so than the 10th, 15th, or even 20th anniversary years. And another big thing we had this year, which fits the 1100 number schemings, was of course the World Top 100 Character Poll. The very first time that fans all around the world were able to vote for their favorite characters from a choice of just over 1,000. And of course, this was the event where the Grand Fleet managed to get the mighty Whoop Slap into the top 50. Good times. Anyway, more stuff. There were a lot of projects. Did you enjoy participating? There were a few announcements too. The cast of the Hollywood One Piece live action adaptation was announced. They're perfect, aren't they? Those 5 are really amazing. Even now, the production is still proceeding slowly and carefully. So I won't go too deeply into the live action stuff here, but it is very interesting that Oda took the time to put it in the Jump Festa message. 2021 has not been a great year for live action adaptations, particularly those from Tomorrow Studios who are producing One Piece, because Cowboy Bebop was released and then slaughtered by internet critics and canned after 1 season. And if you want to know more about that, I have a whole video on my other channel called Dude in a Room. I do still have some hope for One Piece though. The fact that Oda keeps bringing it up is either the most ingenious marketing ploy of all time, because people behind the live action One Piece are pretty big fans and they understand how important Oda's words are to us, and thus I think definitely using him to break some of our inbuilt cynicism. It's either that or there's actually something to this project, and maybe, just maybe, it could be a great success. I think the odds are still heavily stacked against it, but even with my most cynical of hats on, having Oda seem so excited about the show and the cast is a nice dose of positivity, even if it may just be a public show of support for the sake of some kind of grand marketing. But now, and this is one of the big revelations, and then there's film Red, an unknown girl, Shanks and Luffy. Speaking of Shanks, the truth is that he's still a character of many mysteries. What's his relationship with the girl? Will he meet Luffy? This is the first time that Shanks has properly appeared in a movie after all. Oh, he will appear. They tried to stop me from announcing anything, but I went and said it, so I win. And this is kind of wow. The thing about messages from Oda is that once you read enough of them, you start to pick up on certain patterns. So when he says things like, will this happen? It usually means something more along the lines of, this is a thing that is going to happen. So I'm fascinated by him asking, will Shanks meet Luffy? Because this puts film Red in a bit of a weird spot. I think we can safely assume that it won't be a canon film, because if Luffy does meet Shanks in a movie prior to them actually seeing each other in the series, then I think that would just feel a bit off to me. Because apart from Luffy becoming the pirate Pirate King, that is the moment that we're all really waiting for in One Piece. So I suspect there's some shenaniganry going on with what we know about Film Red so far. It kind of reminds me of the One Piece Stampede announcements, where they published a list of almost every character that would be appearing in the film, and then right at the end it had a special credit for Goldie Roger, who did end up appearing, but to be fair, he appeared in a flashback. So perhaps when Oda says that Shanks is well and truly in the film, it's in that sort of capacity. The story could revolve around the mysterious girl and play out in two different time periods. One with her in the present dealing with the Straw Hats, and another in a flashback where she met Shanks, something along those lines. The more I think about it, the harder it becomes to imagine a film with both Luffy and Shanks in the same place at the same time. But Oda is pretty seriously teasing this whole meetup business, so I could very well be wrong. And here we should say that the Straw Hat designs for Film Red were also released at Jump Festa, with our crew looking very snazzy indeed. The whole film in general appears to have a very musical vibe about it. So we have stuff like a DJ-inspired Brook, Jinbei cosplaying what I think is Fishman Elvis, and my favorite design so far, which is Boombox Frankie. And these look like the first set of outfits, by which I mean the One Piece films usually have 2 to 3 costume changes, the most fun of which are usually the first set of outfits, where we see the crew just being fun and casual. Then as the film goes on, we get progressively more serious, and their clothing evolves to reflect that. What do you think though? Will Luffy and Shanks meet in Film Red? I think there's still a chance, but if they do, it'll be in some sort of very unsatisfying way. Like they have their meeting and then they both lose their memories somehow, that or Shanks meets Luffy, but he's in disguise and Luffy's too dumb to recognize him. There's a lot of different ways you can have them meet without actually having them meet, but I feel like all of them are likely to be similarly unsatisfying. That kind of return to the status quo sort of crap. I might be wrong, and in fact, I hope I am, because Film Red holds a ton of potential and I want it to be a true event for One Piece fans, unlike say Film Gold, which was partially sold on the idea of Sabo and Rob Lucci being in it, but in the end they were on screen for a total of like 2 minutes and didn't actually do anything of relevance. They were pretty much only in the movie so that they could be featured in the trailer. Back to Oda though. Furthermore, next year is actually the 25th anniversary of the manga. The staff members are still planning a variety of things, so please look forward to them. Ah yes, things are my favorite things. But I legitimately cannot wait to see what they're planning for this. And let's just stop and think about this for a moment. In a matter of months, One Piece will be 25 years old. That's a quarter of a century of weekly publication, and I feel like it's older than maybe 40% of the people watching this video. What I'd really love to do is go to Japan for the anniversary and make a bunch of videos and stuff about it. However, I don't know if that's going to be possible due to the old world stuff. But something I do know is very possible is the end of Wano, because we have saved the best for last. Regarding the main story, I'm surprised that the Wano country is still not over. Anyway, Luffy, please pay attention to the main character. I hope I can draw it well. Also, I've always wanted to draw the last scene of Wano country. Basically, I'm super excited for One Piece next year. I hope you keep rooting for One Piece. And we are going to break this down like a forensic science. The first thing Oda notes is his surprise that Wano has lasted so long, meaning that even though he did plan it out to be the longest arc in the series to date, this has still well and truly exceeded even his expectations. He definitely thought it would be over by now, as I think all of us probably did. The other day, I looked back at the very first chapter review I did for Wano, which at the time was chapter 909, and to my utter shock, that video was posted on the 29th of June 2018, and it's almost 2022 now. Speaking of 20s, I started reviewing Wano in my 20s, and I will finish reviewing it in my 30s. Something else we can take away from this is the continued inaccuracy of the 5-year estimate, by which I mean that Oda and his staff perpetually insist that One Piece will take another 5 years or so to end, which of course has been said like every year for the past 3 years. So here's the thing, given everything around these time estimates, it may very well be possible for One Piece to even hit its 30th anniversary. It's a bit of a stretch because that's 5.5 more years from the time of publishing this video, and who knows if the dual wielder of stiff shoulders and back pain will be able to continue for that long. But at the moment, 5 years seems to be the minimum amount of time that we would need to wrap everything up in some sort of neat little package. But arguably the most curious thing that Oda says is to pay attention to Luffy. A pretty weird statement because he is the main character and has a very commanding presence whenever he's on page. So he's pretty difficult to miss, usually. But we're really going to be zeroing in on Luffy in 2022, which definitely does make sense with the current state of the Wano manga. But at this stage, I suppose we're just waiting for that moment. The point at which Luffy defeats defeats an Emperor of the Sea and irrevocably changes the world around him. But who knows, Oda could also be implying something quite sneaky and subtle here, so let's keep a bit of a sharp eye on this monkey boy going forward in 2022. And then there's the final scene. From this message, it seems as if Oda is practically frothing at the mouth to draw the final scene of Wano, which essentially confirms that this arc is more than likely ending next year. I mean, we can tell as much from the story itself, but there's still a few non-relenting fans clinging on to the idea of Wano extending into Acts 4 and 5, which will tell the true conflict of, I don't know, stuff, with the raid on Onigashima not being the final conflict of Wano. At this point, it's like trying to talk to the One Piece equivalent to flat earthers. You've just got to sort of let them do their own thing. But I could not be more hyped for 2022. Luffy versus Kaido, the end of Wano, the beginning of a brand new arc, film Red with a heavy focus on Shanks, and to top everything off, the 25th anniversary of the manga. I don't know how, but being a One Piece fan just keeps getting better and better. So let's continue getting better with another video, because there's always more to learn, explore, and experience with this wonderful series, so I look forward to seeing you there.